Okay, so get this. We're diving into the world of chess and cheating scandals. Yeah, you heard that right.
It's a wild story.
It all started with this crazy anal beads theory.
Hurry, that one got everyone talking.
And Elon Musk tweeting about it didn't help. But for this deep dive, we're using Magnus Carlsen's interview on the Joe Rogan Experience to try and unpack this whole thing.
Right, because it was his accusations that really kicked this whole thing off.
So where do we even begin with this? I mean, anal beads. In chess.
Well, the theory was that someone could use them to receive signals from a computer engine.
Wait, hold on. Are you serious?
It sounds ridiculous, I know. And other chess experts, like Marc-Andre, have said it's practically impossible, but it just shows how paranoid things have gotten in the chess world.
I guess when you're talking about top-level chess where every move matters, even the craziest theories start to sound plausible.
Exactly. And this whole thing started with Magnus Carlsen accusing another grandmaster, Hans Niemann, of cheating.
Okay, so let's put the anal beads aside for now. What was it about Niemann's play that made Carlsen so suspicious?
Well, Carlsen has said he felt Niemann's style was inconsistent. Like, sometimes he'd seem weaker than expected, and then suddenly he'd make these incredible moves.
So, more than just a bad day, Carlsen thought Niemann was deliberately doing something.
Right. And Carlsen also said he couldn't really pin down Niemann's style. He seemed to be switching between different approaches, which Carlsen found odd.
I mean, I'm not a chess expert, but that sounds pretty suspicious.
It is. And you have to remember, chess engines have changed the game completely.
You mean those computer programs that can play chess at a superhuman level?
Yeah, exactly. They've made it much easier to cheat, even at the higher levels of the game.
I guess that's where the paranoia comes in. How can you be sure anyone is playing fair when these engines exist?
Carlsen has even talked about how trust has eroded at the top level. Even if you're not cheating, the mere possibility that someone could be using an engine creates this constant doubt.
Wow, so it's like everyone's playing under this cloud of suspicion.
Pretty much.
Okay, but let's say, hypothetically, someone did want to cheat in a professional tournament. How could they even pull that off? Aren't there strict security measures in place?
There are no phones allowed, of course. But even with those restrictions, there are still ways to cheat.
Like what?
Well, one method is using invisible earpieces.
Invisible earpieces, like something out of a spy movie.
Exactly. They're tiny devices that can be hidden in your ear, and they let you receive instructions from someone remotely.
So someone could be feeding Niemann moves in real time through a tiny earpiece. That's wild.
Yeah, it's a common way to cheat in exams, actually.
I could just picture Carlsen wanting to check Niemann's ears after the match. But seriously, are there any other methods they need to be worried about?
Well, after this whole scandal, security at tournaments has gotten even tighter. They're checking ears, controlling spectators more closely, and restricting electronic devices even further.
So it's a constant arms race.
Pretty much. As technology advances, so do the methods of cheating. It's like a never-ending game of cat and mouse.
Speaking of cheating scandals, this whole thing reminds me of that story about the French chess team back in 2010. Didn't their captain signal moves to one of the players using some kind of code?
Yeah, he would subtly position himself around the playing hall to signal different moves.
So it was basically cheating by human chess engine. That's incredible. Did anyone suspect anything at the time?
There were rumors, but no one knew for sure until later. And get this, the player receiving the signals was reportedly out partying every night.
No way. He was so confident in his cheating that he just relaxed and partied. That's unbelievable.
Well, he knew he had a guaranteed win.
So is that the wildest cheating story you've ever heard of?
Actually, Carlsen himself told a story about a guy who was totally drunk during a tournament and just pulled out his phone and started using a chess program in the middle of the game.
He didn't even try to hide it.
Nope, of course he got caught immediately. But it just goes to show cheating can range from these subtle signals to just outright relying on technology.
So no matter how advanced security gets, there will always be people trying to push the boundaries. It's crazy. But what I'm curious about is the why behind all this. We've been talking about how people cheat, but what about the motivations? Why would someone risk their entire career to cheat in a chess game?
That's a great question. I think to understand that, we have to look at the incredible pressure these players are under. We're not just talking about a game here. It's their career, their livelihood, their legacy on the line.
So it's not always about malicious intent. It's more about this immense pressure to succeed.
Exactly. And when you combine that pressure with the availability of these powerful chess engines, it creates a situation where the temptation to cheat can be overwhelming for some people.
It makes you wonder how this whole thing has affected the chess community. I mean, it can't be good for the game's reputation.
You're right. To really understand the impact of this, we need to look at how these scandals have changed the way people view chess, the way they play, the way they trust each other.
So let's shift gears a bit and dive into those broader implications.
I mean, these scandals, they really shake things up. It makes everyone wonder, can you really trust anyone?
It's like a guilty until proven innocent kind of thing.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, every time someone makes a brilliant move, you start to wonder, was that legit or did they have some help?
And I imagine that kind of suspicion can really mess with your head, right? Especially in a game like chess, where it's as much a mental battle as a strategic one.
Absolutely. Think about it. You're not just trying to outsmart your opponent, you're also constantly wondering if they have some secret advantage.
I guess that would make it hard to focus. It'd be like playing poker and suspecting your opponent is marking the cards.
Exactly. You can't really think straight because you're too busy trying to figure out if they're cheating. And in chess, that lack of trust can really affect how people play.
How so?
Well, it makes people less likely to take risks. Why try a bold, creative strategy if you think your opponent might already know what you're going to do?
It's like it takes away the beauty of the game, the whole element of surprise.
Right, chess is supposed to be this clash of minds, a battle of wits. But when cheating is involved, it loses that human element. It becomes more like a cold calculation.
So what can be done about it? I mean, is there any way to completely eliminate cheating, especially with all the technology we have now?
It's tough. Technology keeps advancing, so it gets harder and harder to detect cheating. Tournament organizers are trying, though. They're using metal detectors, signal jammers, even body scanners.
Body scanners, that's crazy. It's like going through airport security just to play a game of chess.
It might seem extreme, but the stakes are high. There's big prize money involved, sponsorships, reputations to uphold, and some players are willing to do whatever it takes to win.
It sounds like it's hard to find a balance. You want to prevent cheating, but you also don't want to create this super paranoid atmosphere.
Yeah, it's a constant debate. Some people want even stricter security measures, while others worry about ruining the spirit of the game.
This reminds me of how cheating isn't limited to chess. We see it in other sports, in academics, even in business. Technology has just made it easier to bend the rules. It really makes you think about fairness and integrity.
It does. Carlsen talked about this in the interview. He said that trust has eroded in top-level chess.
Yeah, he said even the possibility of cheating, even if it's never proven, has created this sense of paranoia among the best players. It's not just about the act itself, it's about the doubt it creates.
Exactly. And that psychological impact, that suspicion, it can be just as damaging as the cheating itself.
I bet. It's like they're playing against two opponents, the person across the board, and this lingering suspicion that maybe, just maybe, they're getting some outside help.
Yeah, and it makes you question everything. Can you ever really be sure that someone is playing fair?
So, what's the solution? How do we restore trust in the game?
Well, obviously, punishing those who are caught cheating is important, but prevention is key too.
And is that all about better technology, like more advanced ways to catch cheaters?
Technology is part of it, but I think it's also about building a culture of ethics in the chess community, about reminding people that true victory comes from playing fairly and respecting your opponent.
So it's not just about rules and regulations, it's about instilling a sense of honor, of integrity in the game.
Exactly. It's about remembering that chess isn't just about winning or losing. It's about pushing your own boundaries, challenging yourself, appreciating the beauty of the game.
It's about the journey, not just the destination. And that applies to more than just chess, doesn't it?
Absolutely. This whole conversation makes me think about how in any field where there's competition, it's so important to remember that real success is built on fairness, respect, and a love for what you're doing.
That's a powerful message. I guess this whole scandal has really sparked a much broader conversation about competition in the digital age.
It has, and I think it's a conversation we need to keep having because as technology gets more advanced, the line between human skill and artificial intelligence is going to get even blurrier.
So where do we go from here? How do we, not just in chess, but in all areas of life, make sure that the desire to win doesn't overshadow the importance of integrity?
That's the million-dollar question, and I don't know if there's one easy answer, but I do think it starts with awareness. We have to be aware of the power of technology and the temptations that come with it. We need to have open and honest discussions about ethics, not just in sports, but in every part of life where there's competition.
It's like we need to rethink what it means to win, especially in a world where technology can give us an edge. Maybe true victory is about resisting that temptation, choosing to rely on our own abilities.
I think you're right. The most fulfilling victories are the ones we achieve through hard work and dedication. Those are the ones that really matter.
So this deep dive, it all started with this crazy question, right? Can you really play chess with anal beads? And while we pretty quickly figured out that wasn't really a thing, it did lead us to all these other important questions about the challenges facing chess, and even bigger questions about how technology is changing the world around us.
And that's what I love about deep dives like this. Sometimes the craziest ideas, they can lead us to the most insightful discoveries. It's about challenging what we think we know, looking at things from different angles, and figuring things out for ourselves.
Exactly. So, to our listeners out there, we leave you with this. As technology continues to advance, the line between human skill and artificial intelligence is going to become less and less clear. So next time you're in a competition, whether it's a game, a career goal, or even a personal challenge, think about the kind of victory you want. You want one that comes from pushing yourself to your limits, or one that relies on shortcuts? The choice is yours.
It's kind of mind-blowing, isn't it? Like, we started with this crazy anal beads thing, but now we're talking about the future of competition and how technology is changing everything. It really makes you think. On the one hand, technology can help us get better, analyze our game, come up with new strategies. But then there's that dark side, the potential for cheating, the uncertainty of knowing if it's real skill or just some algorithm.
So what do we do? I mean, how do we make sure that winning doesn't come at the expense of playing fair? Not just in chess, but in anything.
That's the tough one. I don't think there's an easy answer, a one-size-fits-all solution, but I do think it starts with awareness. We gotta recognize the power of tech, the temptations it brings, and we need to talk about it, about ethics, not just in sports, but everywhere where there's competition.
Like, we need to redefine what it means to win. In this world where tech can give us an advantage, maybe the real win is resisting that temptation, choosing to rely on ourselves.
Yeah, I think you're hitting on something important. Maybe the most meaningful wins are the ones that come from hard work, dedication, a commitment to playing fair. Those are the victories that really last.
This whole deep dive, it's been quite a journey. Started with, can you play chess with anal beads? And, well, we kind of figured out that wasn't really a thing, but it opened up this whole other conversation about the challenges facing chess and, even bigger, how tech is changing the rules for all of us.
And that's the thing about deep dives like this. Sometimes you start with the most out there ideas, and they lead to some pretty profound insights. It's about questioning everything, seeing things from different angles, and figuring things out for ourselves.
Absolutely. So, to everyone listening, here's what we want you to take away. As technology keeps advancing, that line between human skill and artificial intelligence is going to keep getting blurrier and blurrier. So the next time you're competing, whether it's a game or at work or even just a personal challenge, ask yourself, what kind of victory do I want? The kind that comes from pushing your own limits or the kind that depends on taking shortcuts? The choice is yours.